Welcome back to Omnifactory. Today we're going to be going through some of the quests here, and we're going to start with this raw carbon fibers up here at the start, on the top left of the mid game, and we'll chase this through and see where we actually get to in this sort of top area. Maybe even leave down here. Well, who knows? Let's see where we actually get to for this. So raw carbon fibers are all we need, and we need carbon dust and palladium for that, which I've already made previously. So if I just grab this palladium, can I actually convert this? What do you actually need? Can I fluid extractor? It's going to need a higher tier fluid extractor than that. Okay, so fluid extractor. Do we already have a higher tier version available? Just some tier 2 circuits. So let's just, can you make 12? Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go and make a higher tier basic fluid extractor. And then we also need an autoclave as well. I'm not even sure if we need anything other than, I mean, we can just put it in a bucket or something like that. It's only going to be one ingot worth that we're going to be using. And we can dump it in the autoclave with this carbon dust, and that will then get used up to turn into raw carbon fibers. Let's just take a quick look at what they're used for. So raw carbon fibers are turned into epoxy resin, and epoxy resin is going to be one of the ingredients we need for basically the next tier of circuits. So the epoxy resin sheets get converted along with copper foil and sulfuric acid. So just like we've done before, but with instead of polyethylene, we get the epoxy resin, and that gets turned into fiber reinforced circuit boards, which we can then make into, well, other stuff, but tier 4 circuits. Well, sorry, that's tier 3 circuits. Can we get tier 4s out of this? Maybe. That's going to need a few other bits and pieces first, though. We've got 3 of those already. Finally, my wire won't be a problem. The nano CPU will be. So the nano CPU is the thing we need to actually figure out. So that's raw carbon fibers as well. That's good. So we know we're probably going to need a lot of these. And that's going to get us the CPU wafer, which we already have, and energized glowstone. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. This does need a 480 EU per tick chemical reactor, though. Do we already have one out here? Out here somewhere. Is that a chemical reactor? It is. And you have a bunch of stuff that I don't necessarily want to actually remove. So I think we're going to have to build another chemical reactor. That's not a problem. Chemical reactor. Depending on what this needs. Processor assembly. So that's just going to need a couple of tier 3 circuits as well, which needs some plastic circuit boards, which I'm just short on, probably polyethylene or something like that. No, just copper foil, which is straightforward. Copper foil. I do keep some in the system, I just haven't bothered hooking it up to be automatically produced. There we go. So we're just waiting for circuits. So let me get that, let me get the fluid extractor and the chemical reactor out there, and we'll see if we can get a new chain sorted for more circuits, really. I'm getting the impression we're going to need quite a few of these raw carbon fibers, so I decided to make an extra autoclave as well, and we're going to use the autoclave. I did make it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we're going to use the autoclave as well, just any permanent setup rather than doing something temporary. So we'll just get that going. So we just want to make sure that this is set to an output first of all. Where's my wrench gone? It's probably in the system already. Yep. And we'll just output from there to upwards. There we go. And then if I put the palladium in here, that should already process. And we'll set that to automatically export upwards, which it has. And the palladium can go in there. Now, do I have the carbon dust still? Or is it? Oh, it must still be in the system. Not in the system, in the autoclave inside. Yep. Let's just go and grab that. And put it in here. That's going to start producing raw carbon fibers. Good. And that should be enough to get us the quest, to get us started with all of this. Carbon fibers. Claim. And then onto HV chemical reactor. But I already have one of those in my inventory. I did actually have an extra. So I do have 2 of them now. So that is going to be useful. So we've got that as well. And then we're on into nano CPUs. That's where it's leading us, clearly. So let's go and take a look at that. So the nano CPU, again, we did show it briefly. Nano CPU wafer. or nano CPU. That's just a cutting saw. That's relatively straightforward. This thing requires 16 raw carbon fibers to get one wafer, and the wafer will get us 7 nano CPUs. The nano CPUs in turn will get us, well, 4. So one wafer, if you like, gets us 28. So if we just go back, yeah, so we're going to need quite a few of these, I think, over time. And so let's see if we can get started. So energized glowstone is probably the first thing we're going to need. That's going to need a fluid extractor as well, but not a very high level one. So if we've got any fluid extractors in the system, we don't need to worry too much. Fluid extractor. We don't. Let's just build a medium voltage one, or rather, once it has some circuits, let's get some circuits on the go. We can build a medium voltage one. And this one has already got to, well, 64 easily. So they can go away in our system. And we're going to be using them for other things. Of course, I am going to need more palladium. How did I get that one palladium ingot? Was it just from like a side? Yeah, crushed palladium ore. I clearly processed this from palladium, a stack of palladium ore, and then we can then put it through a washer to get tiny piles of palladium dust. So I'm going to just do that straight away as well. And it's going to be needed in future anyway. So let's just get you started with washing that stuff. Cool. Now, next step is going to need at least one of these nano CPUs. So we're going to have to get the wafers. We're going to have to get a chemical reactor with a CPU wafer. Do I have any CPU wafers already? CPU wafer. I have a regular wafer. How about a CPU wafer? CPU? That is not... Wow. It'd be nice if it didn't do that, but okay. We just need to put that through with a glass lens. We don't have any doped wafers yet, so a glass lens will do the job, and we'll get a CPU wafer out of it. We'll just get one to get us started. Glass lens. We just need to go upstairs for that. So is that in the precision laser engraver? I imagine it will be. And there's the wafer. Are you processing? You are. Good. Let's just get the other wafers. Let's just put a few more. Let's make about 8 of this total, and we'll get them processing. All right. So that just leaves the energized glowstone then, which we need a... Was it a fluid extractor? Energized glowstone. Energized, probably the American spelling, yes. And fluid extractor would be nice if I could possibly get this done on high voltage. So if we can get a fluid extractor that's high voltage extractor, that's medium voltage. I need the next tier up really. So it's going to be advanced extractor 2. Do I have any patterns left? No, of course not. Whenever I want patterns, I never have any. Can you make me some patterns, please, while we're at it? That will do. And do I have enough space in the molecular assembler? I imagine I have a couple of slots left. Yeah, a couple left. That'll do. And are you going to take a while? You may take... Oh, are you already finished with the patterns? No? Still making them? Ah, that's what it's making. Okay, so we should have the everything else I need. So I'm just going to go and do a bit of off-screen crafting, and then we'll come back and set up our sort of production chain. Okay, one fluid extractor later. We'll have to pop that on there, and we use our wrench. We can just set the output down, and then we can use this to basically extract glowstone. So if we get some glowstone out of the system, got 908 of it. We can put it in block form as well. Let's just see what it needs for, well, so let's see what it wants for the energized. Energized. It would, well, it wants redstone lamps or glowstone dust. So anything really will do. So let's just put in, I don't know, maybe it's just 16 to start. And auto output liquids, which is going to go in here, which is exactly where we want it. We also want the raw carbon fibers. Let's just again get 16 of that. And then what about our CPU wafer? Was that the last thing? CPU wafer. Yep, let's just get a few of those. So let's dump these in. And is that enough to get it started? Looks like it is, and it's working. All right, so that should get us a nano CPU, or at least it'll get us a wafer to get us the nano CPU. And we'll put that through the regular cutting saw upstairs, and we should get 7 nano CPUs out of it. Good. So that will be that quest done. And what else is after that? Doesn't say, but it's going to presumably head that way. Fine, let me just put the rest of these carbon fibers through. At least let's put half of them through, just in case I need the other ones to make that epoxy resin. Oops, there we go. All right, so in here, let's just go and put these in and get this sorted. Where is our cutting machine? There we go. Nano CPU wafer. That should come out the other side and go straight into our AE2 system. You'll notice I've also put an ME drive here. It's got the fluid cells on the left, and these are solid on the right-hand side, so we can basically craft whatever we want in each of there. I was looking at what we needed for the 64K cells, which are back here, but you do need tier 4 circuits, and we're not there yet. So, yeah, unfortunately. However, we could build like one 16K, or move up to 16Ks total, but yeah, not quite decided as yet as to whether we actually do that. So well, let's just keep on going. Nano CPU should be coming along fairly soon. Now let's wait for our system to return it. And there they are. So 7 nano CPUs. Enough for the quest. Dump those back in, and we'll claim that. And where is that going to take us now? Well, that's not going to take us anywhere. Apparently that's the end of that question. Okay, I would assume there would be more than that, but okay, fine, no problem. That should take us. Let's just take a look at the recipes themselves then. Nano CPUs. Uses for those Lapotronic energy orbs. I'm not really too concerned about having batteries. The tier 3 circuits might actually be quite a nice approach to that. And then they, in turn, can be used for tier 4 circuits. Yeah, of multiple different kinds. So if we want to make tier 3 circuits directly with these nano CPUs, and you saw it was quite easy for us to make that. We just need carbon dust, palladium. However we get palladium is something else. But relatively straightforward. We don't have to go through all the previous tiers. We can just go straight into nano CPUs, which gets us straight to tier 3 without going through any of the previous tiers. So to carry on with the rest of it, we need to basically make this stuff, fiber reinforced circuit board. And we already have a chemical reactor out there that basically does copper foil and sulfuric acid. So the only thing we needed is the fiber reinforced epoxy resin sheet, which is not the easiest things to say. That needs epoxy resin and raw carbon fibers. That's one way to make it. And of course we've got all the raw carbon fibers. That's chemical bath. Would be nice if we can just make this via some easy way of generating it. Let's go via the raw carbon fiber and let's look at it that way around. That may well be easier. So epoxy resin pulp gets us that pulp, and then we can then just electrolyze it, smelt it. We can smelt it and then we can compress it into the resin sheets. I'm sure there'll be other ways around it as well, but it does look like we have to go through this chemical bath if we want something that we can create it quite nicely. So how do we make epoxy resin then? I'm guessing we need some of the stuff that we've already got available. Neither one of those are nice. Neither one of those are nice. Sodium hydroxide we've got. Bisphenol A we definitely don't have. Phenol we can get easily enough. Acetone we don't have. Hydrochloric acid we can get. Not sure about that one. And what about this one? We've got naphtha. We got that, remember. Our system has it. Nitrogen dioxide. That's just nitrogen and oxygen. So we can make that. Which leaves epichlorohydrin, which is what exactly? Hydrochloric acid and glycerol. Okay, hydrochloric we're making via a bunch of different methods. Some of it's diluted, but we can actually we've got the previous processes for that somewhere. So glycerol should be fairly straightforward. Methanol or ethanol and seed oil. You know, I want to bet before I press this next thing, is canola oil going to be as part of this? We're going to be able to get canola oil, seed oil, seed oil, fish oil. Come on, canola. Canola oil, look at that. So methanol, canola, and sodium hydroxide, and that should get us what we want. So we are going to need another chemical reactor, but I already have a spare one, remember? I said we already had one. And methanol, we know we can get that from, you know, in various different chains that we've got going, including basically another distillation tower if we want one to actually get that. So we just need to pretty much combine all stuff we've already got. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've already got methanol being stored in the system though. Polyethylene. No, not exactly what I actually want. Canola. Is that being stored in? No, it's not being stored in the system. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to do then is I'm just going to get a fluid import of some kind for the canola. Have I got this in any way in a nice form? There's the canola press. See, we've got lots of canola oil, but I don't think I'm actually doing much with it right now. Let's go and pop downstairs. Yeah, so we've got just power running up here, but our system is not too far away. It's just through that wall. This is the artificial wall. Yep, there we go, you see. When I get to the right area, there it is. So you see, it's not too far away at all. We can just run some cables through, or indeed, we've probably got some through underneath the floor here somewhere. We can actually get regular glass cables through and import that into our system. All right, next step. Let's head out to our distillation tower. And I've shut down the oil at the moment. It is building up in this electrolyzer right here. Yep, we got full amount of oil and it's still being processed with the oil sands. But on the other side, we've got a compressor. We've got a compressor because we're going to be making these plant balls. And you make those with a compressor and hopefully we got an export bus. In fact, I think I already have an export bus. Yep, we got one there. And we'll basically tell the system to export sugarcane. That is going to start exporting into here. We'll probably speed that up with an acceleration card or something like that. But we should then be able to output that into an advanced brewery. Also advanced brewery 2, that is. Also HV. There we go. And let's get our wrench back out of the system. There we go. And make sure that automatically happens. That should now be exporting. Yep. And that, in turn, once we supply this with water, we should be able to... I think that's all it needs for the plant balls. Plant balls? That should be all it needs to make... brewing machine. To make biomass. And this happens to be the... as far as I know, this is the highest source of biomass. We're not going to process that into fermented biomass or anything like that. We're going to take that and go straight into the distillation tower, which will convert this into an ethanol machine, basically. And just a very much larger one than the ones we've been used to. So we could either have a local source using a endeavour. That's one possibility. Endeavour, rather than having it come out of the system. Do we have... no. Do we have any view? No. Okay, let's get it out of the system. Fluid export bus. Export bus. I'll get the regular export buses, but I want a fluid one. You can get crafting. And that should work when you just attach it to the side here and then carry on going downwards. This will produce ethanol. And then we want to output ethanol further down. So if I get some ender conduit and fluid conduit, and that's pressurized, I want ender fluid. Yep, 27. And let's get this going. 1, 2, 3. We'll set the output to bottom. And then I'm just going to pop down here and because this is going to connect into the same system that we already have. So you see there's this block here. It already accepts on green. So all we need to do really is make sure that that right there is going to be outputting on green, always active. And once it starts, it should start producing ethanol, which should go straight into the fluid distillation tower. So you're just waiting for water now. So export bus, have you finished crafting? Looks like you have. Fluid export bus, and let's just get a couple of pieces of cable. 1, 2, and then we just need to configure this. I need to basically tell this to do water, I guess. well, not sure why I had some water there, but I have some water there. And this should sort it out. So you're going to export water. And that is exporting. I did want to just double check how much water did we have in the system, because I didn't have a huge amount originally. 1,500 buckets, that will do. that will more than do. Okay, so you are now starting to produce. Good. So that should be starting to produce ethanol in here. And it should kick on the system once everything is actually finally being supplied. Let's have a look up here. Biomass. Actually, no, I didn't want... no, I don't want biomass. Oh, why is biomass being supplied? Have I forgotten the stage? I probably have. Let's sort that one out. Yes, I clearly have forgotten the stage. Let's just get rid of you. There we go. And let's see. Biomass. I need to go through a distillery. Okay, into ethanol. Straight from biomass to ethanol, and that should sort... In fact, no, hang on. Yeah, it is biomass. I'm not forgetting a stage. That's exactly what we want. And that should get converted into ethanol and water. Good. I'm not going crazy, honestly. Let's make sure I turn that back on again. Always active. And then this system should kick in over here. Yep, 620. So it is clearly started producing, because that was already 700 previously. And the system should now start to get biomass in it. Not biomass, ethanol. It's idling. Once it finishes, that should start getting in there. So let's go and take a look. Does the system already have ethanol? In fact, it does. That's ethanol right there. And you'll see it was just increasing. There we go. 1 bucket of ethanol already. So that will then let us make glycerol. So glycerol is right here. And we need ethanol, we need canola oil, and we need tiny piles of sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide is easy enough. We've got plenty of it. And we can break it down into tiny piles. Okay, plenty of that. And then we just need a chemical reactor for that. And thankfully, I have another advanced chemical reactor. So we'll pop it over here near this HV. We could get it over there, but it doesn't really matter. It's digitally stored, so I don't really much mind where this is coming from. I think the A2 connection's under here. Yes, it is. Okay, so why don't we just put it right there. And then we want to basically export everything into this. So we're going to need... Yeah. I'm not... I think I'm using that. No. That's free. So, yeah. We're going to want to export fluid. And we're going to want to export 2 fluids and one solid. So we need a capacity card. And I've got one of those. I've got an export bus, which is fine. Got some cable. Let's just get this sorted. So let's just bring up the cable through here. And in this side, we're going to put an export bus, I think. And it's a single solid, so sodium hydroxide. Let's put that in there. Okay, system should still be starting to dump that in there. It is. It'll probably fill up both of those slots. That's perfectly fine for us to do so. However, we are going to need to also export. Yeah, I need to be a bit careful on this. I'm not going to build this any taller because I need to get another slot to export fluid. So fluid export. And let's build one of those. Yep. It's going to go ahead and I'm pumping that into the top. And we need that capacity card I was talking about just to get that done. Are you going to take very long at all? Looks like you're not, because you just need 2 plates and bits and pieces. Yep. Rubber. That looks like it's about to finish. It is about to finish. And there we go. Fluid export. And then our cable. And our capacity card. And now we just need 2 containers with the 2 different things in, which is ideal for a bucket. So let's just grab a couple of buckets. The system. Yeah, we've got a few of those in there, so that should do. 2. And then we should have everything we need. So the canola is going to be in here. Canola oil, yep, there it is. So let's just grab one of you. And we wanted the ethanol as well. One of you. And then we, whoops. Then we should just be able to configure this to output both. Okay. And they both should start appearing, I think. Was that everything they needed? I hope so. Glycerol. Looks like that's what it needs. So I'm hopeful that it won't fill up both of the liquid slots before anything else. But yeah. It still seems to try and output everything it can for one of these things rather than going round robin. Nothing much I can do about that, but wait for it to actually fill. And that's now filled. It basically needs the ethanol. As soon as the ethanol hits 6,000 or 6 buckets, it will produce its first amount of 1,000 glycerol and 6,000 biodiesel. So we can pump it back into our system if we want to, or indeed just take a bucket and grab that out of the system. Got some glycerol. I'm not sure if that's actually a quest. Is that a quest? Yes, it is. Biodiesel and glycerol. So we got that regardless, and there it is. And it's taken towards exactly what we're heading for anyway, which is probably going to join up with this over here somewhere, which is the Epichlorohydrin Bucket. So that is this stuff, which we need just 1 bucket of glycerol and 1 bucket of hydrochloric acid from somewhere in a chemical reactor. And I'm sort of short of chemical reactors now. I need to go and grab another one. Do we have any? Yeah, we do have hydrochloric acid right here. So we can get a bunch of that straight out there. Okay, 4 tanks of that. Yeah, so recipe, glycerol, hydrochloric. Yep, so straight away we can just grab a chemical reactor. Ask its system to craft one. In fact, does this actually need a HV chemical reactor, or can it do with a regular medium voltage? What is it? Glycerol. Glycerol is just going to be a regular one. Yeah, so we can put it in a medium voltage tier, which means I can just use one of these spares. Definitely don't attach it to that wire. It just disappears. Thankfully, they don't explode in this pack, but they do definitely disappear rather vigorously. Let's just put it that way. And let's put it here, because it's going to be right next to this pipe. We don't need any connection on that side, though. Yeah, especially not getting just random sulfuric acid. I don't want that to happen. And now you can just put in that, and we can put in that. There we go. And this thing is going to produce, hopefully, epichlorohydrin, which we can take back in a bucket. And then we can tell our system to basically output glycerol this way, which needs another fluid export. That's clearly something I'm not going to do right now. And we got everything we need. So let's just claim that one, claim this one. And that gets us towards the sort of tier 4 circuit. So let's just grab you for a second. And let's just see. So what do we have left to do? It's probably going to be next episode now. We just basically want to combine this with naphtha, which is already in our system. And we just need then one more thing, which is the nitrogen dioxide, and obviously 2 oxygens, 1 nitrogen. We can already get that from the system. And that is going to be fairly straightforward process to create. And that will lead to epoxy resin, which leads us directly into circuits. Fiber reinforced epoxy resin with, we can make it with glass fiber. Interesting. Rather than raw carbon fibers, is glass fiber borosilicate? That's going to be more. That's going to be more work. So in the meantime, you can just use it with raw carbon fibers. That'll get you exactly the same thing, and we can put that through a process. And we already have everything else there that we need to get fiber reinforced circuit boards, which gets us directly into the 4th tier 3 circuit, which is cheaper than everything else because we can already make all the other ingredients. So hopefully join me for that. We'll finish it off next episode with the tier well, the higher end tier 3 circuits, and then hopefully then we'll be looking at tier 4 circuits. Tier 4, the sort of second, so that's the second tier 4 circuit. Does that require, that's epoxy. How about the third tier 4 circuit? Third nanoprocessor? Yeah, so the nanoprocessor needs the same circuit boards, the nano CPU, and the nano circuit, which we'll make an next episode. Aluminium wires, easy enough. S&B diode we already make. And the small coils we've made previously. They're just steel bolts and fine copper wire. So yeah, and that's nicely and easily available tier 4 circuits, and hopefully they then get converted into tier 5. Although, is this... Ooh. To make this, we need 2,000 EU per tick. Yes. 2,000 EU per tick. That might be a bit much. How about tier 3? Do we need to go up one energy level before we get that? Microprocessor, no. Third, second, third, fourth. Yeah, we need 2,000 EU per tick for this as well. So that means we need to get to EV. Okay. EV, oh no, EV needs tier 5 circuits. We're going to have to do something else about that. And that is tier 4 circuits. This one is machine hull, which is machine casings, which is titanium. Yeah, so clearly I've got to concentrate on getting a bit more titanium out of there. But technically everything else will have, so we have the road to tier 4 and tier 5 pretty much with this kind of process. So I'm happy so far. We need a lot of production carrying on for the sort of next couple of episodes, getting us through more titanium, which we're able to get through the moon dust now. I just need to concentrate on a few things, and that means we need to get to EV tier. If you enjoyed the episode, give it a thumbs up, and we'll be looking at that next episode, and we'll see how far we get. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed it. Feel free to put comments down below on discussions on corrections and things that I can do far more efficiently, and we'll see you next episode for some more Omnifactory. Thanks for watching.